So hello, welcome to SpeakEasy Online. It's April 2024. We've got a good little group here. I hope we've got lots of words. There might be some announcements of bits and pieces coming up. I can't remember off the top of my head if there's anything coming up. But we had a really lovely time with a special in-person SpeakEasy a couple of weeks ago with the Errant Thieves doing their farewell gig, and our very special guest John Hegley coming up to Carlisle. And George was there. George was doing some amazing double acts with John Hegley and the like, and both of us ended up on stage with Errant Thieves and John, and the whole room singing songs at the end, weren't we? Wild.
Yeah, I even managed to move my arms above my head, which is not something I do very often nowadays.
Yeah, I mean it was a wild and crazy night. Yeah,
It's
party animal.
sad that they're finishing though. They're such a good band.
It
But
is. I think they've been together 5 or 6 years and they've done lots and lots and lots. But I'm sure we'll run into them in different permutations. And there's three of them are already in another band, which I could give a plug if I hadn't left the business card downstairs that Pete Rowan gave me the other day. But look out for them. They're never too far away. You're never too far away from an errant thief.
Well, judging by other groups, there can be farewell tours for the next 20 years.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, it was a really lovely night. Okay, we'll crack on and see how we get on. This is a piece called Lifeboat. It's the 200th anniversary of the RNLI. I always get the letters the wrong way around, but that was the right way around. And that was the starting point for this one. It's called Lifeboat, and it goes something like this. She's kind of cruel, takes whatever she gets. Oh, it's true, she holds no regrets. She is the lady who never forgets. You see, she's a cruel mistress. She'll lure you with her beauty, then the very next day she'll drown you and toss you away, cast you adrift with her powerful wave. You see, she's a cruel mistress. A surf-riding clown trying to stay afloat. I'm up and I'm down, I ought to take note, as I'm spinning around, calling for your lifeboat. You see, she's a cruel mistress. She's a cruel mistress, plays her role with such ease. Onto the rocks she'll drive you, this siren, this tease. From hidden depths she'll call you, right across the seven seas. You see, she's a cruel mistress. And you know you shouldn't go, as you watch the ebb and flow, illuminated by the lighthouse glow, and that feeling starts to grow. Push the boat out, start to row, before she bathes you in her stillness, followed by her woe. You see, she's a cruel mistress. You see, she's a cruel mistress to me. You see, she's a cruel mistress. And that's that one. Lifeboat. Thanks very much. All right. George, have you got something for us?
Sorry, couldn't find the mute button for a minute for saying that. Yeah, I don't know how many of you are maybe trying NaPoWriMo, National Poetry Writing Month. I usually do it every year. So the one for today was to write a piece of music, write a poem inspired by a piece of music and shares its title with that piece. So I've written this. The title is the brackets, they long to be and close to you. I'm parked at Kylesque Ferry, thinking of you in Scarborough, the carpenters on the radio, saying the things I hope you know I want to say to you. I'm trying to sing along, know I'm sounding out of tune, but hope with practice I might dare to sing the song when I get home and you are back from Scarborough. I've been seeing you for 6 months. This separation has come sore. The sky is bright, the day is warm, but I am alone, so feeling blue, and the carpenters are singing you. This is the song you never knew, was the picture I kept forever. Like a lover carves the names in wood, that day I found I had to stay close to you.
That's really lovely, George. Is that from a real world thing, or you took the song and ran with it?
No, that's a real world thing. That's a nice event. I can still see it in my head now. And I should say, of course, there's a bridge there now. It's not a ferry, the Skylesku Bridge. But this goes so far back. That'll be, God, 50 years ago. In fact, it will be 50 years ago. More than 50 years ago.
Wow. Well, that was a lovely
But
piece.
I tell you, it's not easy to try and follow Karen Carpenter in a car singing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you did a valiant effort there, George. It was good. Thank you. Okay, Val, what have you got for us?
Right. First, I have to apologise if you hear any banging. It's next door because the house is empty and the people moving in seem to be doing lots of renovations. I thought I would plug a book. It's called Literary Ghosts in the Gallery, and it's available for £5. And I thought I'd read my Charles Dickens poem because I haven't actually read it on Zoom. So apologies to you that I've already heard it. So this is a poem about Charles Dickens's visit to Maryport, and it's called A Visit to Maryport by Charles Dickens, but he may not actually have written it. Right. So I walked from Allenby to Maryport along its wild and rugged shore. My first visit to this Cumbrian town, I knew not what it held in store. And so I arrived in Maryport with no great expectations, but found the people and the place a source of many inspirations. It was a tale of two cities I found. Waterside Bristol, my first thought, with a seasoning of Wolverhampton as I wandered round the port. Throw in a garnish of Portsmouth, and then add a slice of Wapping. Here is shipbuilding, ironworks and coal, fishing boats and streets for shopping. A fisherman stood by his boat, sold two boys a penny of shrimps. They said, "Please can we have some more?" So he chased the cheeky young imps. I sat down with my bottle of ale, and he asked me to give him a sup. He said that he'd been through hard times, but something was bound to turn up. Then I wandered up Shipping Brow, pausing momentarily at the top to look in the fascinating window of an old curiosity shop. Next to that, a confectioner by the name of Barnaby Rudge, who sold lollipops, sherbet and comfits, sugar mice, chocolate and fudge. I moved on up to High Street in order to collect my post. I passed a woman all dressed in white. She reminded me of a ghost. The assistant in the post office was curiously named Mr. Bumble, and amused me by continually saying that he was ever so humble. Now down the dusty street I go, till I pass the pastry cook's shop. At the edge of savage moor and morass is where I decide I will stop. And I see outlined in the distance a bleak house, grand and tall, stood beyond the confines of civilization, and I guess this is Unity Hall. It's back up to the Golden Lion to meet with our mutual friend, newspaper publisher Robert Adair, and there my visit today must end. And as I left Maryport Harbour, the sun was beginning to set, and the fiery orange and golden sky is a sight I will never forget. Bars of burnished silver and gold form streaks along the shore. I vowed Collins and I would soon return to see the sunset here once more. Thank you.
Fantastic. That's great. And that's available from many places. That collection, Val?
It's available from the Art Gallery, but
In Maryport.
arrange for you to get a copy if anybody wants one.
Cool, cool, cool. That's fantastic. Great. And I wonder who lives in that bleak house on the hill there. I don't know. Maybe they're having risotto tonight.
Fletcher Christian's uncle, wasn't it?
Oh, right, yeah. Okay.
Was the Christian family, but there's not hardly anything left there now, just a few walls, and yeah, I wrote a poem about that, rather sad poem. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Val. We're with Peter.
Thanks, Val. I was struggling to think what I could start with tonight. And one of the poems begins in Maryport. So Valerie has forced my hand, and I've got to start there. This is called Riot in Aspatria. Driving back from Maryport on a cold, wet and windy night, after an evening of poetry about the weaknesses of men and the strengths of community, with a woman outside saying, "Are people really more racist now, or are they pretending to be more racist?" And a man replying, "I'm a working class white male from the South, and I've been having this argument with my family for years." I approached Aspatria's speed-activated warning sign, telling me to slow down. And I thought about how you could take a sign like that and tie it to the front of your car and calibrate it to always warn drivers coming in the opposite direction that they too need to slow down. And then, gliding round the corner into the heart of Aspatria, I found the street full of angry people, yelling and fighting and throwing petrol bombs. So I had to brake hard and was soon surrounded by the mob, banging on my car roof and jeering in my windows. So I did not stop, for fear they would pull the car doors open and drag me into fists and kicks. I just drove steadily through their anger. I just drove steadily through their anger about something I didn't understand or think I had a hand in. I was careful not to run anybody down. And then I was through the disturbance, back on the empty open road, where I could put my headlights on full beam, press my foot on the accelerator, and keep heading towards home.
So how did that come to you then, Peter?
Well, I was driving back from Aspatria, having heard a poetry event. Just driving along and went through the village and thought, I wonder if they've ever had a riot here.
Mm.
I mean, it was sort of composed on the way back from the poetry event.
Yeah.
Which was a very good event, which I really enjoyed.
Fantastic.
But,
yeah, it's an interesting place, Aspatria.
I had to look up how to pronounce it, though.
Yeah.
I think I got the pronunciation right.
We know of at least one talented poet to come from there, if not a few. So, yeah, that's great. Thank you, Peter. Kelly.
Right. I'm glad it was an imaginary riot rather than a real one. I was a bit worried. So continuing the Maryport theme, I thought I'd read one about my favourite spring walk in Maryport, now that the weather is finally warming up a little. So walking in April. Chilly spring slides sideways into summer. On the farm track, hacked back hedgerows overlook grassy banks of burnished buttercups and gleaming golden gorse. How quickly rain-soaked soil can dry into parched powder. Some fields striped with tractor tire marks, torn trenches and topsoil ridges. Others raked smooth as seed trays, surveyed by blackbirds who busily wrench up wriggling worms. High above, a solitary seagull glides on a secret mission across blue skies.
That's great, Kelly. You working for the tourist board, are you, to celebrating the area?
I wrote that one a year or two ago when I was in a Facebook group on the craft of poetry, and it was an exercise on alliteration. You might have noticed there was a lot of alliteration in that one.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed writing it, playing with the sounds.
It's very effective. That reinforces it, doesn't it? It's that's smart. That's clever. Thank you very much for sharing. That's lovely. Okay, Roz, we're with you.
Sorry, I've got an unstable internet apparently, and I'm very sorry to say that I keep losing minds when people are reading. So
We'll muddle on.
So, which is really, but I'll listen to it back on the video when it comes. Anyway, I have managed to pick up the fact that we're doing the Trigos in the gallery. I was going to do mine, which is a bit boring for you and Val and Kelly, I think, but it's quite long anyway, so it might be a bit boring for everybody, for all I know. Stick at the side of my piece there, please. Right, this is Robert Southey's letter. In his letter to John May, 1821, Robert Southey, his visit to Nether Hall, but in it he makes mention of Maryport only fleetingly, more interest in recounting the long history of the Senhouse and his friend of the home of his friend Senhouse and his family, the very stones of Nether Hall antiquity. So when his grandfather built a new town locally, it's not so an antiquarian such as he chose the grid system to build nearly. He called it Maryport after his wife, Great Beauty, whose portrait had a dining room for all to see. Southey describes what he calls an interesting story about the ancestor that fought at and survived Naseby, before mentioning the bishop from the Senhouse family who preached at Charles I's coronation, reputedly. The letter mentioned chivalry, church, and royalty. I postulate that in its writing, Southey tried to implant ideas promoting a particular imagery, the quintessential of British respectability. It follows that his friend Senhouse is mostly formed from the right stuff and is gentlemanly, and therefore bound by the morality of superior Britishness as defined by Southey, who thinks a gentleman behaves properly, follows God's laws, prioritises justice and acts, defends the weak and rejects tyranny, which denies the existence of British as the building of empire grew progressively. Modernisers became important. Thus was Maryport created benevolently to house new workers who were those nameless many who had no identity, as if the people of Maryport were an entity. They were simply overlooked by Southey, which may be seen of an irony, considering this man with his earlier poetry had tried to make the wealth poverty. I'm afraid that's it. I have no idea if anybody that was, it went on a bit. But was it 36 lines? He said, I can't remember.
Thank you, Roz. And we got most of it as well. There was the line breaks up a little bit, but we got a lot of it, so that we got the vast gist of it. So that was good.
It's a very clever poem, and it makes a lot of very good points, actually.
Yeah. So,
yeah. And also in the booklet.
I was going to say, if you've missed any of the poems this evening from the Maryport collection, get the book. Yeah. This is a very clever, crafty way of making people buy the book. I like it. I must remember that for Colgy Press publications. Just have a slightly wonky internet connection and they have to buy it. That's good. That's good. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll shut up.
No. Don't shut up. That's the whole point of the evening. It's good. All right. Well, that's great. We've done one round already. We'll go around again. I think we've got about 10 minutes before we've got to push the button and sign back in. So we'll see how we get on. This is Every Little Place You Go, and last time I performed it, it was a song, so it might be a song tonight, or it might not be. I'm a frustrated singer, and usually I sing frustrated songs to frustrated audiences, so everyone's frustrated. But here we go. You aggravate attention every little place you go. Never tire of every mention from all the folks you know. The way you sip your Coke and you drink your wine. Eyes are playing games as you while away the time. With a little sass, you tap your glass. You have your fill, and then you pay the bill. Count the win, not the loss. You're the boss. You gotta let 'em know every little place you go. Names are for tombstones, the only thing you take to the grave. You got that feeling in your bones, just another soul that you try to save. In the end you disappear, never letting no one near. You leave me standing here, as dust settles in a sky so clear. With a little sass you tap your glass, you have your fill, and then you pay the bill. Count the win, not the loss. You're the boss. Gotta let 'em know, every little place you go. Every little place you go. Every little place you go. That's as much as that is. So there you are. That's every little place you go. Thanks very much. Oh, I hope the audience wasn't too frustrated. Thank you. George, we're with you.
Thanks. I'm just going to stick to the Naporimo theme, so I'm going to do the one from yesterday. And you'll probably gather that the us in this is the one that the previous poem was about as well. So this is at Fintry Bay, Cumbria. Laughter follows us along the road. To our left, the Firth shimmers blue, wavelets sparkling as the breeze whispers through the trees ahead. When we look back, the Arran Hills are misted by a summer haze. Fintry Cafe, a low green hut, the only building allowed here, the view from Butte kept unsullied. Cyclists going round the island have left their bikes against the trough where the spring tinkles cheerily. We buy ice creams and stroll on as herring gulls arrive like ghosts. A solitary car disturbs the peace, sparrows erupting from the hedges. Cirrus clouds stream sunbright across a Mediterranean sky. An aunt invites us round for supper. Their window looks out on Cambridge Bay. We watch sunset on the Clyde, play charades and talk of nothings. But now we walk hand in hand, cousins shouting, "It must be love. All things must die."
Wow, George, that was amazing. That last line has such a punch to it as well.
It was the instruction from the thing that you had to finish with a philosophical thought, which looked as though it was disconnected from a description above, but was not. So
Yeah.
that was it.
That was very strong, very powerful. Wow. So that's been all month, hasn't it? Through the NaPoWriMo.
Yeah, it actually starts, which I always forget. They do a pre-Naporimo, as if writing a poem every month isn't enough. They actually give you one the night before or the day before. So it's actually 31 poems. But it's a good exercise. Well, I like it. Some of them are a bit of a struggle, but it's good fun.
Cool. And there's a different prompt every day, is there?
Yeah, it's a site it's actually an American site, I think. It's actually called Glow Stroke Na. So it's Global Poetry Writing Month and National Poetry Writing Month. I think there's a number of them now do it. But the one I follow is Naporimo.
Cool. Wow. Well, it's great. I mean,
So you can pick it up any. I mean, you could carry on from now if the fancy took you, Phil.
if I had the time, I might. That's great. Well, you never know. I'll see what happens. Thank you very much, George. It was great. Val, we're with you. You got something for us?
My niece has been up. It just reminded me of this poem that was inspired by her friend, who's a bit autistic. So it's quite short but quite sweet. It's called The Longest Ever Living Me. And I should say that her friend comes out with some quite random things at times. Right. I broke a record today, she said. Oh, really? In what way? I said. You realise that today I'll be the longest ever living me. Tomorrow I've lived one day more, and I'll break the record I set before. So forever I'll always be the longest ever living me. That's a lovely thought, I said. So even if life is short, she said, I will still forever be the longest ever living maid. It's a record I'll always hold, whether I'm very young or very old, and even long after I am dead. You must be very proud, I said.
That's great. It's funny how a turn of phrase can spark something like that. Yeah, that's cool, and then that's lovely. It was good to see that Words by the Water's coming back in the summer, the literary festival at Keswick.
Yeah, early June, 5th to the 9th.
Yeah.
And the programme is up on the website now, although I don't think ticket sales open till the 22nd of April.
Oh well, spread the word.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been very popular in previous years, and it's been a miss when it hasn't happened the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
yeah, hope the team are able to pull it all together, and it's not too stressful for them.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I think we're all back in place. So if we're all ready to go, Peter, have you got something for us?
Yes, thank you. This one again, Valerie has managed to validate this choice because it's about age and time passing as well. And it's all a true story. A man goes to the cinema. It's his birthday, a tradition since the Towering Inferno, 1974. The spirit of his father sits beside him. He says he doesn't like the film. The spirit of his mother sits beside him. She says she thinks the film is interesting. The spirit of his sister sits beside him. She says she thinks she likes the film. His own spirit sits beside him. Shh. The last time he went to the cinema, the last time it was his birthday, he nodded off halfway through, despite really looking forward to it. A time before that, he sat near a family with a child eating rustly, crunching nachos, who didn't know what was going on, so asked and asked and asked. The man made allowances, but the film was spoiled. He remembers when you could smoke in a cinema, and his sister lit a cigarette, so he self-righteously moved to a far seat. And a time he went with a friend who laughed loud in all the wrong places and made him cringe. And the time he chose a Chinese film for a first date, and they both left confused, but said they thought it was interesting. And the time he waited outside the cinema for a friend who was late because he was high on ketamine, so they missed the film. A man goes to the cinema alone. He likes films, and it's his birthday. He hopes he will stay awake. He hopes it will be peaceful. He hopes he will enjoy the film. He hopes he will visit the cinema for his next birthday. It's a tradition since the Towering Inferno, 1974.
That was really lovely. I think, yeah, going to the cinema does bring out some very strong memories, doesn't it, of different films you've seen with different friends and family over the years.
I do go once a year on my birthday, but because of other people and their cinema habits, I find it very difficult at times.
Yeah, I found audiences in the cinema have become almost unbearable at times the last few years. But recently they seem to have improved because I only go and see predominantly showings of old films, and they're not interested, so there are small audiences.
Well, my taste is not in popular films, although I have seen a lot of popular films. It's more the art house type films. So
yeah. What was the last film you saw on your birthday?
Poor Things.
All right, I haven't seen it. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I thought it looked great. I thought the acting was great. There's possibly some issues with the social commentary and stuff. But yeah, it was an interesting, and it was a weird and interesting film.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from most people. This is a weird but interesting film. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Wonder what you'll see next time. Okay, Kelly, go with you.
Right, just a short one, and then I'll probably have to disappear. Make the time after Seamus Heaney. Make the time to let your mind wander where it will. Resist the urge to keep working or scrolling on your phone. Permit your thoughts to unfold like magnolia buds, beginning tightly closed, ending as huge pale pink goblets, drinking in the sights, sounds, smells. And in that same moment, make the time to let the closed book of your heart fall open so you can read the poems pulsing through it.
Oh, that was great. That was a real like mantra as well. I mean that can we need to share that with everybody these days. It's okay to switch off and put the phone down, put it away, turn the screen off. It's ironic that saying this across the computer, but yeah, you need to. I think it's important to get that sort of headspace, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a kind of meditation poem and a poem about the importance of poetry and opening ourselves to it. So I will leave you with that thought.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Enjoy your dinner. We'll see you again
Bye.
soon, Kelly.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye. All right. Fantastic stuff. Cool. Roz, back with you. Do you have another one for us there?
I have some rubbish for you, if that's okay.
Well, all right then. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. We were just thinking about silly things on packaging. So I've got this. I called it, I can't possibly have this extant bottle of perfume. The name is definitely an ox. The bottle has eternity moment written on. And since no moment can last for eternity, apart from the moment I put the last squirt on, and the perfume is eternally gone. And that was that. Would you like more of the same rubbish, or can I?
Yeah, I haven't made any notes on that because it was so short and sweet. So haven't
I know.
another
This
one.
is it.
It was like haiku or something, you know?
Yeah. Right. I have a bag of kettle chips. I don't know whose kettle it is because mine is intact. And that's that.
All right, have you got one more then? We'll make it a trilogy of
more.
little film,
Okay.
little poems, little films, little poems.
I've got original cheese. As I spread cream cheese on my, I noticed the pack has original on. I've had the same brand before, and I expect I'll buy, and none of them will be the first one. Is that enough of that? I think so.
I've got original cheese. I like that a lot. That was a wonderful way to introduce it. Fabulous. Well done.
Thank you.
I like to think that complements what Kelly was talking about, finding poetry in the everyday. I'm not sure it's exactly what Kelly had in mind, but that's brilliant. Oh, Roz, the genius sits amongst us. Thank you, Roz. Speaking of original cheese, here's the latest installment of episode 4 of a certain crime-fighting detective. Thank you, George. Oh, it got particularly weird last time, and it's about to continue. Here we are. This is episode 4, Kung Fu Penguin. Kung Fu Penguin and disgraced physics professor and wannabe hit podcaster Davinia Brush, who delves into the paranormal. the weird and the unexplainable, find themselves kidnapped by mystic Alaska May Fortune and thug for hire Rick Splinter, eventually arriving at Skin-Crawler Ranch, home to the Piccolo Institute for Science of the Strange, and guest of the somewhat eccentric millionaire tycoon Brian Piccolo. After explaining a little about his quest to discover source, to understand the base code of the universe, and how he financed the missing archaeologist Professor Schrodinger's excavation in the desert some 30 years ago, Piccolo invites them to view an experiment with the many gifted people who reside at the center. Will it shed light on the cryptic message, "Embrace the silver shadow," that one of the seers saw? It's not very good. Not as good this time, George. It's rubbish. There is a belief in ancient Hindu theology that the body has several sacred energy points, the millionaire explained. Kung Fu Penguin smiled to himself. Chakras. Yes, I'm familiar with the concept. What if there are chakra points on the planet? Perhaps this is one of them. If we could open it, what would we discover? Even if that was true, is that possible? How could you even open it? Asked Professor Brush. If we have other people focusing their energy as one en masse, perhaps they would cause some alignment. That is our lead guru's theory. They've had some modest success in previous attempts. Who is this guru? May I introduce Dora Hinge. There was a large grey figure conducting events. She looked wise, and obviously one scene never forgotten. She seemed focused on the task at hand, and was she about to tinkle on the old ivories? She's not by any chance the elephant in the room. It's just for George to chuckle. There we are. Piccolo smiled. Piccolo smiled. Why, yes, she is. She's very shy. Keeps herself to herself. I guess she doesn't like to blow her own trumpet. Dr. Brush was intrigued. How do you propose to open this chakra? Piccolo's face lit up. The key is light, sound, and frequency. My late wife, Harmony, loved music. She believed in the power of song. We're looking at taking that one step further. Let me show you. This is our chanting and meditation group. They're attempting to align with the light and frequency modulation experiment, which we hope will be achieved through this series of microphones and the enormous bank of speakers you see laid out around the room and on the floor. The sound should build up upon itself. The original echo chamber, mused Kung Fu Penguin. We hypothesize that if we find the right frequency, we can cause change on an atomic level, perhaps even cause a dimensional shift. Kung Fu Penguin simply shook his head in disbelief. Is that even possible? I've talked about it on the Dr. Bobcat podcast. It's theoretically possible. There's never been anything proven as far as I know. There were rumors of various scientists experimenting with sonic weapons, the military backing to use them as new weapons to flatten a city at the flick of a switch, kind of like a tuning fork shatters a wine glass. Just like Joshua at the Battle of Jericho, bringing the walls tumbling down. Well, Professor Brush, why don't you do a live stream of this for your podcast? I have a feeling Dr. Bobcat Investigates is about to get a few more views, Piccolo announced with a grin. Great idea. I'll get my phone. Professor Brush pulled out a mobile and began the live stream on our channel. Hey guys, Dr. Bobcat here. We're here at a very special place, which might be about to see some really cool science being done here. Skin-Crawler Ranch, and the millionaire space exploration entrepreneur, Brian Piccolo. Let's have a listen in. The group began to chant as all the technological paraphernalia whirred and powered up. Dials began to flash, and the lights blinked as the singing began. And then we segue into the musical number, because as we remember, we're trying to pitch it as a musical here. We're trying to pitch it as a show. The West End still haven't got back in touch yet. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. So the song goes something like this, if I can remember. A wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah. Open up that chakra, it'll make your heart sing. Open up that chakra, it'll maybe tell you everything. A wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah. A wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah. You can join in on these wah wahs if you wish. Well, there's a hope in, here's a hope into it. Don't amount to nothing. There weren't a soft open. This chakra is a opening. A wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah. A wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah. You're in for a nickel, you're in for a pound. These vibrations tickle, it's shaking the ground. A wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah. Wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah. Will it take you to another place? Where will we go? What will we see? A change of time, a change of place. Open up and put your trust in me. A wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah. A wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah. A wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah. A wah wah, a wah wah, a wah wah wah. Look! Something's happening! The young woman told the Dr. Bobcast viewers excitedly. For a brief moment, a strange burst of white light began to fill the center of the hall and began to grow and grow like a flickering ball of lightning. They all stared, momentarily transfixed by the glow, before the energy slowly began to collapse. In a few seconds shrank down to a small pinpoint of light before blinking out of existence. It took a moment to catch their breath before Professor Brush turned to address her camera phone. Wow, guys, that was so sick. Because that's what the young people say, isn't it? They don't use cool anymore. Suddenly, an alarm rang out. Sir, interrupted Rick Splinter, pointing at a flashing light on the monitor. The proximity sensor's gone off at near the old abandoned outbuildings. The camera's picked up a mysterious figure darting amongst the shadows. Looks like we've detected an intruder. Okay. Let's find them. So, Penguin, Piccolo nodded thoughtfully. How about you put your detective skills to the test? Kung Fu Penguin slowly nodded in agreement. It's time to go out and investigate. What has Mr. Piccolo's experiment really tapped into? What strange forces may or may not have been unleashed? Who is sneaking about outside? Has Professor Brush got a hit VO for her podcast? Does anybody still remember about Professor Schrodinger's disappearance? Is he alive or dead or both at the same time? Does the message, embrace the Silver Shadow, have any bearing on events? Will our heroes find the answers they seek? Or is time about to run out? Perhaps literally as well as figuratively. Find out in the next inciting installment of Kung Fu Penguin. And there we are. Kung Fu Penguin. Wah, wah. We sang, thank you. Thank you. We sang the song at the live event the other week, so I'll spare you that this time. But next time. But there you are. Oh, it's very weird, this third series. I think the writers are scraping the barrel, frankly. Anyway, who goes next? George, follow that.
I don't think I can, Phil, but anyway. Well, rather than Kung Fu, we're now going to... I've jumped back a few days in Naporimo, so I'm going back to the 12th, and this is the Haggis's Revenge. The haggis came raging round the room, eyes ablaze as his piper played. All guests who had risen to the tune scattered as they were dismayed to see a living haggis where bulging guts, sae sun, sae fair, should be steaming, but not from whisky. And certainly no one as frisky as this apparition from the oven. Those eyes with terror then bewitching, what the hell happened in the kitchen? Were they the victims of a coven? The chef was grinning ear to ear, expecting to be greeted with a cheer. But panicked voices shouted, "Whoa! is still alive. Did you not know how deadly is a haggis riled? Oh, idiot, is your head biled? He'll mash us up like champit neats. Diners now begin to weep as terror round the table creeps. The haggis leaps from platter. Drunken heads are thrown to splatter. The table cover walls and ceiling. The whole place this night is reeling. The haggis downs the piper's tot, lies back contented with his lot. A few survivors tell the story, which burns in mortal memory.
Sounds pretty fresh, that haggis there, George. It's pretty fresh. Is that called playing with your food then, or...
Actually, when some of the burnt suppers I've been at, I doubt if people would notice if the haggis was alive or dead, to be honest.
Oh, goodness. Fun times, George. Fun times. All right, we're with Val. What have you got? Follow that, Val, if you can.
So, whistle up a wild wind. Whistle up a wild wind that turns the sea to grey. Whistle up a wild wind that beats the rocks with spray. Whistle up a wild wind that makes huge rolling waves. Whistle up a wild wind that sends sailors to their graves. Whistle up a wild wind, I've murder to avenge. Whistle up a wild wind, I will have my revenge. Whistle up a wild wind, and you will lose your child. So listen while I whistle, for the wind is growing wild.
Wow.
It's not a very modern laptop.
No, that's all right. So what conjured those words up then, Val? That was in response to...
The story is that Elizabeth Woodville, that was married to Edward IV, she's supposed to have been a witch and whistled up a storm to get her revenge on Isabel Neville and George, Duke of Clarence. And she's supposed to have whistled up this storm when they were sailing on a ship to France, and Isabel Neville lost her baby. And so that's what the story is. But in my mind, it's also sort of an analogy for climate change. For like the wind is getting up and the seas are getting rough, and the earth is taking its revenge on mankind.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, no, it's really cool. That's very powerful. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. That was good. Excellent. Okay, Peter, we're with you.
Okay, no connection to anything this other than it's another true story from me. The last time I tried to run for a train, my body failed to remember how my legs used to carry me around a football pitch, or all the way home from school, one foot in front of the other, feeling like I was flying. So I became a crow, front hopping, coat flapping, and when I reached the station footbridge, I was forced to put one foot in front of the other to climb the steps, not fall upwards and take wing, missing the train. Thank you.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, running for a train.
I forgot how to run. I sort of hopped.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it right until I was forced to by the steps.
Well, thank you, Peter. There's like a confessional element to some of these poems.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Well, your secrets are
the absurdity of existence.
Your secrets are safe with us and the entire internet. So thank you. Okay, Roz, we're back with you.
Hi. Yeah, I had to run today. That was hard. I didn't exactly run, sort of teetered along really. And oh, this is what I wrote for last. I can't remember what I called it. when I was hoovering, I caught a glimpse of myself. And I made this up before I'd finished hoovering, really. So, and it shows, but never mind. I look in the mirror, and what do I see? A wrinkled old person who looks like me. Tried, I always seem to fail. I go through jars of face cream to no avail. With day night cream, I moisturise. Not even anti-wrinkle cream helps to disguise the signs of aging. I'm willing to replace the deepening lines that appear on my face. In my attempt to change this unpleasant visage, I've even went and paid for a face massage. Now my stance on unnecessary surgery will have to slip, because the only thing, sorry, language jacket. The only option left is to have a facelift. So just the stuff that goes through my head when I'm hoovering or doing something. Just I'm sorry. I inflict it on you.
I like to, yeah, as we've said before, I think, you know, poetry is cheaper than therapy. And that's true, man. It's true, you know, as I think we've heard tonight. And that's another example of it. Cool. I think we've gone around 3 times. Do we want to do one more quick round and then we'll call it a night, or are we all poeted out, or what? Who's up for one more round? Yeah, one more round? Okay, one more round. I'll have to find some more words. Okay, I think we got 9 minutes, and then we'll see how we get on. Okay. This one's called Parting Words, and it goes like this. It seems that I just can't say goodbye. Saying cheers doesn't hide my fears. And I'll see you around doesn't mask the sound of my heart breaking every time we depart. Calling out adieu only makes me think of you. Hasta la vista, baby. Will there be a next time, and don't say maybe? Is this our final au revoir, my dear? All my hopes reach the nadir. Show me the door, like you've done 1,000,000 times before. Kick me out where I belong. Don't worry, I'll soon be gone. They say parting is such sweet sorrow, but I may well see you again tomorrow. And that's that one. Parting words. I'm not saying if it's a confessional poem or not. All right, George, have you got another one for us?
Yeah, a friend put up a wee while ago in March that the toilets were shut at a beauty spot in Cornwall. I just couldn't resist. So this is quite short in the long run. Nae convenience. What an inconvenience. So you can't get into the convenience. It's bogging closed. That bog you're needing. It's a matter of fact, there's a lack of facilities, and I'm ill at ease, knocked out of sorts, discombobulated, and that's no easy to say. Facile, really. They're taking the piss, except no one is taking a piss, because the toilet is out of order. And say, am I for my bogging day ends, with me nae being able to gae? I mean, it's a terrible inconvenience when there's nae convenience.
Well done, George. That's brilliant. I guess it's toilet humor, yeah? All right. Val, do you have another one for us?
I'm passing.
Okay, no worries. Thank you, Val. Good stuff tonight. Pete, have you got one more for us?
Yeah, sure. This is another one in my series that seems to be developing about my adventures at T-Base Services. If you remember the first one I did about that. This is the next one. I murdered a man at T-Base Services. Couldn't believe my luck. He was a massive criminal, wanted across Europe for all the worst crimes. And there he was at a picnic table near the duck pond, hiding in plain sight, wearing Go Outdoors and Berghaus, eating one of the famous sausage rolls. I didn't know this when I accidentally beeped the horn as I got out of my car. That made him jump and made him choke. I got a medal for it.
Oh, brilliant. I like to think that's a real poem as well, a real life
Yeah, they're all
experience.
true stories.
I know they are. Fantastic. Thank you, Pete. That's great. Well done on the medal. That's excellent. Cool. All right. Roz, we're back with you again. So suddenly.
More madness, I'm afraid. Something
We're
else
happy
from
with
the
the
silly
madness.
things written on things, free from range. So this is called Nothing to See Here. The free from is a title. It's strange when a free from tin has nothing in. The emptiness paid for a box, and it's an expensive pack full of what you lack. The shelf of free from is basically one with nothing on. Sorry. I apologise yet again.
Where'd you get your ideas from, Roz? I mean, where do the ideas come from?
Isn't it? When you say stupid things to you, so you think, help.
I got a little poem here, and then we'll round things off. It goes like this. Most people don't reply to my messages. Most people aren't so generous and kind. Most people don't get to know me. Most people don't make me feel special. Most people aren't my best friend. Most people don't restore my belief in myself. Most people aren't the person I care deepest for in the whole world. Most people don't break your heart every time they leave. And that's that. Well, there we are. That's the end of another online speakeasy gathering of shenanigans and poets and words. Give yourselves a round of applause, everyone who's read tonight. And everybody who's listened. And everybody who left before the end and everybody who stayed. And oh yes. Excellent stuff. Thank you all. Really lovely stuff.
Thank you, Phil.
Oh, thank you. You were
Thank
very
you,
welcome.
Phil.
You're very welcome.
Thank
There's
you,
a lot
Phil.
of Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil. That's great. Sorry, it just sounded like you'd organised that. That was really good. A chorus of
Kung Fu
approval.
Penguin.
Hey, thank you. Oh, I thought we were going to get through one without it just descending into chaos, but no, and that's the way we like it.
Wah wah.
That was John Hegley's parting line when he left. Got out the car, looked at me, and went, wah wah, and then closed the door and left.
You need to pitch it to somebody, Phil.
We'll see what happens. Maybe do a podcast. Everyone's doing a podcast these days.
When he came off the station, he said he was wearing a red hat. I'd recognise him. So when he came down, he was wearing a red beanie.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I was expecting a Stetson, John. He just looked at me as though I was insane.
No, you did a good job because somebody had to go and collect him from the station, and you did a wonderful duty of service to us all, getting them there on time. So yes, thank you very much. Cool. All right. Thank you all for coming. Take care. Good luck with all the online shenanigans and bits and pieces. There's an in-person speakeasy at the Source next week, and then there'll be some more. We'll do this again next month, and then we'll have a little summer break. Oh, where are we going? Anyway, get home safe, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.